Hello, everybody. This is Ken Walker, and I'm with Rich Keeple again today, and we're here with our Epic Dad podcast, and we're going to talk today about the specific roles of a dad, and maybe some new ideas that folks have not necessarily thought about before. But I'm excited today to talk with Rich about the first letter in the acronym EPIC, and that is encourager. So, Rich, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you, Ken. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So,
Awesome.
um, when I think about the term encourage, I guess some different ideas and themes come to mind, but you chose this as the lead off
Mm.
letter, the lead off statement for the name of your organization. So, help us understand, what is an encourager to you, and why did you choose that as the first letter for the Epic Dad organization?
Yeah, I just absolutely love the word encourage. And when you look at that word, right there in the middle is the word courage.
Mm.
And for me, as a dad, when I encourage my children, I want to add courage to them. How can I build them up, build their confidence, just speak words of life and hope and reassurance, let them know, they've got what it takes to succeed, that I'm here to cheer them on, their biggest fan, to champion them in life. And I think the world, there's so much negativity and criticism, and our children sometimes can feel, things are against them. They can focus on the things they feel they're not doing right. And as a dad, we're not coming in to, pick holes, but we're coming to speak words of life and let them know we love them, we're proud of them, we're here for them. We want them to be the best they can be, but not in a way that where they're going to feel like we're always on their case and, well, you need to don't do this, do this, and telling them off all the time. But instead, we want to build them up and let them know that we believe in them. Then they can believe in themselves. So that whole message of encouragement is about how can I add courage to my children? How can I help them see how valued they are, how amazing they are? They are unique. They never be two of anyone, and we just want them to thrive in every area of their lives. So we're here to not throw water on the fire, but we're here to throw fuel on the fire, so they're fired up for life and achieve all that they have in their hearts to do.
Man, I'm empowered just from that minute long message right there. That's incredible. So, the first thing that comes to mind to me is maybe how distinctly different that type of message is from the supposed role of a father, maybe that I grew up with in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s time frame, right? And even prior to that time, like I think culturally it was pretty much assumed that a dad was there to earn the paycheck and to discipline, to provide, in some cases through physical interaction with the child. Like your role was to encapsulate the range of behavior, if you will, that child or children were evidencing. And the theme that keeps coming to mind is the reminder that children are to be seen and not heard. Like it's
Mhm.
the father's role when the kids are out of control. The mother would look to the dad and say, "Shut them up, control them, can contain them." But what you're talking about to me feels like just the opposite. It feels like allowing them to be open and to expressive and
Mhm.
dynamically different than the contained type function that we used to see. So do you see it that way? Do you see this as like a
Mhm.
sort of a shift from the way that dads have been perceived before?
Absolutely. I think it's really just having a very positive approach to fatherhood and engagement with our children, that we should enjoy spending time with them, that they enjoy spending time with us. We're here to really just big them up. And I think sometimes historically, dads would not be proactive in speaking affirming words to their children. They'll be very quick to correct them. And even now, I think a lot of dads find it hard to switch off, to stop working. They have a very strong work ethic, but the danger is that can be to the extreme and to the detriment of the family, where I've got to keep working, I've got to keep achieving, I've got to hit the mark. And I think some of that maybe comes from childhood, that need to I need to impress my dad, I need to achieve, I need to be better, and that pressure that dads can carry. And if they're not careful, they can pass that on to their children. And an example I use is when a dad holds their newborn baby, for the first time, and just the miracle of that new life, and you feel that love, that warmth is so overwhelming. And at that moment, you're not saying to your child, well, I'm not proud of you yet because you're only a baby and you haven't done anything. But when you're older and you can help around the house and get good grades at school, and when you're older, get a good job and achieve in life in all these ways, then I'll be proud of you. No, no, you're proud of them just for the very fact that they're your child and they're
Mm-hmm.
here and
Mm-hmm.
they're a miracle, they're a gift, and you celebrate them. So you're proud of them not for what they do, but for who they are. Because a newborn baby can't really do a lot apart from feel their nappy, and
Mm-hmm.
cry and need
Yeah.
feeding. But they are reliant on you. And as a dad, you feel that sense of pride in them, but it's not based on their performance, but it's just by the very fact that they're here and they're your child, and you love them and you celebrate them, and that sense of pride in them as a newborn baby. And I say to dads, as your child gets older, they still need to know that you're proud of them, not because of what they've done to earn your approval, but you already approve of them because they're your child and they're
Mm-hmm.
a gift, and you love them, and you want to spend time with them. And not that we don't want our children to work hard and achieve in life, but we don't want them to do that feeling like they have to impress dad, but they already have our love and our approval. So that kind of energizes them to go and do great things in life, but they're not doing that to get their sense of worth because they already have that, because we've brought that encouragement from day one, and that continues as they grow. And I know some dads find it hard to be expressive, to through their words, to express their love and care and commitment to their children. And it can take time to kind of break the cycle if they never had those affirming words spoken over them. But I believe as we come alongside dads, as we encourage the dad, they're going to feel more empowered to then start to encourage their children
Mm-hmm.
and be quick to praise and to build up. Not that we shouldn't challenge behavior and actions that aren't right and not good for the child, but even in that, we can do it in a loving, encouraging way. We can correct them in such a way that they know we're doing it because we want the best for them, not because we're just having a go and bringing them down. Our goal is always to build them up so they can flourish. And where we correct them, we want them to see this is for their own good because of how much we love them, and our care for them and our fact that we're proud of them remains no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And something I've worked really hard on is I would never say to my children, I'm disappointed in you, because I feel that can really stick and like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
dad's disappointed with me. I might say, I'm really sad that you chose to do that. Let's talk about that. Why do you think you did that? What do you think you could have done differently? So still like the overriding message they're getting is one of love, approval, encouragement, and I think that gives children such a secure base to go forth and live their life, not knowing they're doing things to please dad, but they already know dad's pleased. So they're just free to be themselves and know that we're there to support them every step of the way.
Amazing. So yeah, you're early in the conversation anchor point of encourage. I oddly enough had never thought about that word that way. Like you were literally sort of inflating a balloon. The child is the balloon, and you are continually filling that balloon with the potential for more courageous, which to me means less fearful action and
Yes.
reaction. It's again, it's such a new theme. Like we have lived in a society and largely still do where fear of consequence and fear of retribution and fear of
Mhm.
retaliation is the that's the cycle that we're on. That's the way that people are founding their lives. What if I run out of money? What if I don't get approval? What if I don't achieve enough? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't have enough likes and followers on Instagram and Facebook? Like it's this constant
Yeah.
acting out of the what ifs instead of, as you just put it, already knowing that you are accepted, you are loved, you are okay. You don't have to fear anything. You're changing the baseline from which
Mhm.
that individual is operating. You brought up a good point about encouraging the dads too, though,
Yes.
because
Mm,
a lot of these men, like I feel like I myself would say that I didn't necessarily grow up in an environment where I felt like the main objective was encouragement. There was encouragement, but there was also a lot of this, the traditional act this way because you're told sort of
mm.
mentality, right? And keep yourself quiet and contained and just don't upset the apple cart too much, you know? It definitely wasn't an environment of inspiration and unbridled acceptance, that kind of thing. So what do you do in your organization as a dad and an encourager
Mhm.
who's looking now at other men, some of them who may have been fathers even longer than yourself, right? But they've not had modeled for them what it feels like to be encouraged. So what do you tell these men, or how do you interact with them to help them understand the truth of what that really is?
I just remember on one occasion I was talking with a dad and he was sharing kind of his struggles and his desire to be a good dad, but his feeling that he still had a long way to go and he was just really focused on his shortcomings. But there was a lot to celebrate in how far he'd come and the
Mm,
efforts he was putting in. And as we were just talking, I just really felt like I just needed to say this to him. And I just said, you know what? I'm really proud of you for all that you've done and all that you've accomplished. And I'm really proud of you just for the epic dad that you are. And, I want you to celebrate these wins and you are making great progress and you're not on your own in this. But just those words to say, I'm proud of you, he started to well up and I said, what is it? And he says, no one has ever said that to me before, that
mm,
they're proud of me. And it
wow.
was a quite an overwhelming experience for him. And I thought, you know what? There's a lot more dads like that
Hmm.
out there that need someone to come alongside them and say, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And in a weird kind of way, it's almost like fathering the fathers,
Mm,
being that encourager to them, someone that says, I believe in you. You've got this. You're not on your own. Because I think sometimes even projects that work with men and fathers, the starting point can almost be like you're a problem and you need to sort these things out in your life. And so the starting point can be quite negative and quite defeatist that they feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I need to work on this. And I think for Epic Dad, we've really wanted the starting point to be one of celebration in fathers and who they are and what they bring. They are epic and they can be even more epic. And that whole thing of encourager, provider, instructor, carer, I've realized over the years more and more it really starts with us bringing those four things into the lives of the dads. So they're then empowered to begin to offer those things to their children.
hmm.
So, we just encourage through being a listening ear, by having fun, by being a friend, no judgment. We're not here to tell people what to do or pick out their faults, but we're here to celebrate the wins, to give them any advice and support we can, and some suggestions of things they can try. And I think it's really important sometimes as well, like help them to break it down. I think sometimes when you think about this is where I am and this is where I want to be, and it can seem such a massive thing to get from where you are to where you want to be. So it's about
Hmm.
breaking it down into smaller steps and to celebrate those steps. Say a dad is always at work and isn't spending much time with the children and he's got a bit of a temper but let's break it down and say, hey, what about if you could get home from work early, one night a week, and play a game with your children and read some stories to them at bedtime and just have that focused time that they have with dad, and start with that. And then if they could begin to see that, oh, I'm shouting less, I'm having some fun with the kids, and
Mm,
they're getting to choose the games we play, and we even make up our own stories now at bedtime, and that becomes a really fun, because I think bedtime can be a stressful time for getting the kids to bed, but actually finding some joy in that and some quality time. And if they can start just breaking it down and doing something in a small way, but they see the benefits in their life and the lives of their children, and the bond is getting stronger, I think that motivates them to do more of the same and put more changes in. And suddenly they're taking more advanced steps to where they want to be a more hands-on, nurturing, engaged father. And I think if they look at it as a whole, it's overwhelming, but they can do little things which lead to big change.
yeah. So the small steps, that's a really important thing is like, I guess with any change in life, the hardest thing is taking the first step. And so maybe what you're doing in your organization is helping them realize the first step can be something very, very small. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't take a lot of time. It may actually free you up from some of the time-based commitments that you think you have right now. So that's important that you're making it a kind of a small bite out of the elephant, as it were, rather than saying, "Hey,
Mm,
you need to change your entire life. You're a great guy. Change your whole life. Good luck." It's making it something succinct to begin with, where they can see the victory from the very start. You
yeah.
mentioned a couple of times during that section the idea of overwhelm. And I think
Hmm.
I think that that's a very real word when you describe like just the sense I got when you expressed telling that father that you were proud of him and that that was an overwhelming emotional experience for him. What that makes me feel is um, you put him or allowed him to join you in the space of being enough and okay for even just a minute or two.
Yeah.
And even him putting himself in that belief space, you invited him in and he accepted that for a brief period of time. And even that was emotional overload for him. He didn't know what to do with it. Like that is the difference between this space of being closed off and isolated and fearful and feeling like we're always behind the finish line. We're never done. We're never finished with whatever. We're always working. We're always earning money. We're always trying to please people. We're always doing, accumulating,
Mhm.
trying to do all these things, but we're never crossing the finish line. I think to me, the visual is you gave him the opportunity to cross through that tape for a few
Wow.
seconds, and he was like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm good enough for right now. This
Um,
couple of seconds, I get to be the winner of this race instead of the one who's always in last place."
yeah.
So that's the essence of the feel that comes with that. Men
Mhm.
are men are told to deny that feeling aspect of life and to stay out of the emotional space. We're allowed to yell and scream. For some reason, we're allowed to be angry, but beyond that, we're not allowed to feel this essence of everything's fine and I'm good and I just won the race and I'm victorious and like no, I'm impervious. Nothing can touch me. Um, so that's to me what when you spoke of filling one with courage, that's exactly what
Mm,
that moment feels like is
yeah.
you gave this guy an experience, and you do with many people, you have for me many times, of giving someone the experience of being on top of the mountain and letting them know this is your divine right. This is your natural state. All you have to do is find ways to perpetuate and share that with other people. Um,
So
yeah,
good. And
it's
I was just thinking as well, like some dads can struggle to find their sense of purpose
mhm,
and belonging, and they can be discouraged by various kind of issues in life. And I think by encouraging them to see themselves as an encourager to their children, I think
mhm,
that can be incredibly kind of empowering and give them a sense of purpose, and which can lead to fulfillment, that actually they are one of the most influential people in their children's lives. And what a privilege, what an awesome responsibility. So to really help dads know that um, they matter to their children and
mhm,
to the world. They can be life changers, influencers for good. And I just remember this quote I heard that said, um, a father's voice becomes a child's inner voice.
mm,
So, the way we can shape our children's lives by the things we speak over them and speak to them, those words of acceptance, affirmation, approval, how that just fills them with courage for life
mhm,
and
mhm,
resilience and a sense of security and belonging, that can become their inner voice. So when the world, society, others would come against them, try and speak negative, try and bring them down, the voice they hear internally is what the message that's been reinforced throughout their childhood and into adulthood.
mm. Wow.
A dad that's been there to champion them, to say, I love you, I'm
Mm,
proud of you, I'm here for you, you've got this, you're not on your own, I celebrate you for who you are. And just carry this truth in your heart. And it's so hopeful and purposeful. And I think what a motivator for dads to know that this is the difference they can make
Mm,
in the lives of their children. And I guess it goes back to that point that we need to be receiving these messages in our lives and having a band of brothers where dads can encourage and build each other up so we are better equipped to bring this message of hope and life to our children. So that becomes their inner voice that they can face the world because they know their father loves them.
man, I just want to listen to a podcast all day where Rich Keeble talks about what it means to be a dad, and like, I feel like the inspiration and the uplift already just in these few moments with you. So, what an awesome discussion, and thank you for spending the time, kind of helping me and helping us understand what being an encourager is all about. I look forward to our next discussion. We're going to hit the second letter in EPIC, so provider, and talk a little bit more about what it means. I'm sure more than just the guy that brings the money and puts the food on the table. So
Yes,
I'm excited to hear what that's all about.
me too.
Thanks, Rich. Any parting words on
Thank
the
you.
encourager theme before we close out today?
I just want to encourage dads to keep going.
Mm,
We believe in you, and even when we make mistakes, it's not the end of the story. It's never too late to start afresh, to put in the good stuff. It's almost like our child has like an emotional bank account, and we can feel like maybe we've made mistakes along the way, and there's been a lot of kind of debits, but you know what? There can be also a lot of credits that can
mm,
outweigh the debits that we can put into our children's emotional bank account. And there's so much good we can do. So it's never too late to turn it around. I've seen that in the lives of many dads and their children, how there were struggles, they were struggling to connect, and now they've got the closest relationship ever, making memories together all the time. There's so much love and warmth and happiness shared between them, and stronger families as a result of strengthening the dads. So I just want to encourage dads, don't focus on what you've got wrong.
mm.
You can say sorry, you can make amends, you can turn things around, and like we said earlier, step by step, but it's never too late. And also I think it's important to mention, in these podcasts, it's not just about dad, but it's male carer. I think we are
Mm.
huge supporters of father figures. We just want to celebrate men who have that fatherly role, whether they're dad or stepdad, uncle, big brother, just a significant male in the life of the children that's there to love and support them. You are epic, and we are all about championing father figures because they have just as important role as fathers in being there for the children. Yeah.
Fantastic words and thoughts. Thanks again, Rich. You are showing courage yourself in sort of reframing the orientation of what it means to be a dad. And I look forward to many more of these discussions. I'm learning from you in every one of them. So this is fun.
Oh,
All
thank you,
right.
Ken.
Until next time, we're signing off, and everybody have an epic, epic day.
Thank you.